She felt like a cork tossed around by the sea as a 50,000-pound force pushed her underwater. As the whale pushed hard at her, her co-workers watched in distress. During those horrible 20 minutes, Nan couldn't do anything to stop the enormous creature from throwing her over and over again. But the whale's strange behaviour didn't come from nowhere, and the cause of it would make Nan's situation a whole lot worse. Today's story is about a diver who has no idea why a whale follows her until she notices this. However, before we begin our story, we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to our channel, Amazing Animal Stories, and also press the bell icon. Let's get started. Nan Hauser's dream since she was a little girl was to work with dolphins and whales in the water. But the fact that she was seasick and afraid of the ocean made it challenging to envision her as a marine biologist. When she was 13, she saw a video of a dolphin being killed, and that was a turning point. She didn't worry about being popular like the other girls of her age. Instead, she made a big choice that would change her life. Nan gave up on her dreams as so many other people do. Instead of studying marine biology, she decided to go to college and become a nurse, which is a more practical choice. But even though helping people gave Nan a lot of joy, she couldn't resist the sea's irresistible call. Nan took a leap of faith when she was in her 30s. Now, she goes to the Bahamas to study whales and dolphins. She has been monitoring them for 28 years, but nothing could have prepared her for something that would change her life forever. At first, the dive was like any other. Nan tied the boat down and got into the water near Cook Island. As she was getting ready to go down into the dark depths, a shadow in the distance began to move quickly toward her. Her heart stopped when the shadow adjusted into a whale shape. She didn't realise it, but she might have been filming her death. Nan liked the sea better than the land. She was at her best when she was around marine animals, so sea mammals weren't new to her. This humpback whale was about 50,000 pounds heavy. Nan had spent her whole life studying sea creatures, but the shy humpbacks were the first time she had seen one in person. Even though its presence was shocking, what happened next will stay with her forever. Nan was sure that you should never touch an animal in the wild. She has openly written about whale harassment and only initiates contact with the whale she studies if they are sick or beached. She has taught people a lot over the years, but this humpback whale seemed to want to forget everything she had learned. The whale pushed her up and onto his head to say hello to Nan. Nan started recording their meetings with her camera and diving gear, but nothing she learned in school had prepared her for this. The whale started to swim and roll around in the water in front of her. Then he started to push her. Nan was stunned by the strange way the animal was acting. It pushed her along the surface of the water with its head before rising for a breath, along with Hauser. The whale kept following her, and she was scared for the first time since she was a child. Nan tried to keep her calm. She thought that eye contact was the only thing that could keep her alive. Whales and dogs, both very social, use eye contact to establish dominance or challenge it. Even so, the animal kept pushing her away from her crew and the boat. Nan tried several times to get back to her ship, but every time she tried, the humpback stopped her. Fear started to grow from its seed. Her crew members, originally filming for a documentary, waited anxiously, fearing they would capture the end of a legend. Nan turned around just as a second whale came out of nowhere and slapped its tail along the water's surface. It was rare enough that one whale did something strange. Even scarier was the fact that the same thing happened again. In the distance, a third figure started to take shape. But this dark shadow didn't move up and down like the humpback whales. This scary sea creature swayed from side to side, a horrifying trait of some of them. Nan couldn't deny the truth. As a marine expert, she knew the shape of a shark when she saw one. But this shark wasn't like most. This was the second most dangerous animal in the sea that could hurt people, and both surfers and divers had nightmares about it. And the sea creature was moving quickly toward her. Unlike other sharks that take just a taster bite before abandoning their victim, the tiger shark will continue to attack the same prey until the bitter end. Nan swam harder than she ever had done before, but the whale kept getting in her way. When the tiger shark tried to get closer to the whale went crazy. The tiger shark tried getting closer, but that's when the whale went ballistic. It seemed panicked and immediately darted away from the boat, dragging her with it. Nan was pinned against the whale's body as it swam further out from the boat. It took all of her energy to stay awake. She thought it was because the whale desperately tried to escape the tiger shark. Nan started to have trouble seeing as the whale sped up very quickly. Nan began to worry that this was the end of her life. She didn't blame the whale because it didn't know what was happening. She put both hands on the whale and gave it a tight hug. As soon as Nan hugged the creature tight, it immediately changed direction. It went from a furious descent to a gentler ascent towards the light of the surface. Nan was confused. Did the animal not know the whole time she was there? How about the tiger shark? The animal moved smoothly through the water and came to the surface. Nan could breathe again once she was no longer feeling the pressure from the crushing depths. She took a moment to catch her breath before remembering the danger that had started the whole thing. She was scared and looked around. Now that Nan wasn't in immediate danger, she started to think about the first threat. How did the tiger shark get there? She looked into the water with fear, and then a feeling of dread overcame her. She wasn't able to see anything. No longer was there a dark shape in the water. She could only think about where it might be. Now that the shark was far away, she began to wonder where her cameraman was. Since the whale took her away, she hadn't seen him. She tried to find the cameraman and the boat by looking around. She looked over and saw that the boat was 20 feet away. She was still in a lot of danger. She would have to find the filmmaker and get them to the boat. The whale was still close, but it didn't look like it was ready to attack her again. She was glad she didn't have to worry about the whale or the shark, but she knew that things could change. The whale suddenly dove underwater for a long time. Nan was scared to death, but after a few minutes of waiting, she saw the dark thing moving in the water. The whale seemed to be looking for something. What could it have been though? But then the whale moved quickly toward the surface. Nan could see that the whale had brought something to the surface, but she didn't know what it was. But when she saw what it was, she swam as fast as she could toward them. The whale had brought the cameraman back to the surface. He seemed to be unconscious. Nan swam over to him and felt for their heartbeats. He was still breathing, but she had to get to the boat to help him the right way. That's when things changed in a big way. The whale was definitely on their side. Not only did it save Nan from the tiger shark, but it also saved the filmmaker from the depths of the ocean. The whale got in front of them and started pushing them toward the boat. The shock seemed to wake the cameraman, who was surprised to find out where they were. Nan was just glad that they were alright. Now all they had to do was get to the boat and leave the ocean for now. They got to the boat after a few minutes, but just like before, the whale held them down. Getting away from the big animal was hard. She knew it was only meant to help, but because of how big it was. They got ready to push against the whale to get away from it. It would be challenging, but they had to do it. Nan finally got out, and she and her cameraman had to use every muscle to get back to the ship, while constantly looking over their shoulders. As her hand hit the boat, she took a deep breath. Their arms and legs flailed as the crew pulled them out of danger. Nan lay on her back and looked up at the sky. Humpback whales may soon be taken off the federal list of endangered species because of people like Nan, who had spent their whole lives trying to protect them. I'm a scientist, and if someone told me this story, I couldn't believe it, Nan said about her feelings. Scientists worldwide are dumbfounded by her story, which has gone viral. She hopes the video will keep getting the word out about how complicated these strange creatures are. Do you also know any stories like this? Let us know your views in a comment section below. We hope you found this story very interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel, Amazing Animal Stories. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new uploads. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.